Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. I am your host, Yohn Voker. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we are about to get ready to start off the weekend, right? And many people are just getting started for their 2026-27 sports season because everybody's getting right back to college. We got college football coming up very soon, college soccer, all the college sports is about to come very soon, momentarily. They just recently got started with the fall sports season. And, on today's episode, talk to you guys about, what lies ahead for me for the 2026-27 sports season because, when it comes to being a broadcaster, you got to look ahead on, what's to come for, like the fall season, the winter, the spring, summer, everything about that. So recently I've done some USL League 2 games for Sports Engine Play, as along with my colleagues here at the Premier Media Group, where we do the National Soccer Network and SportsNation.tv. So looking ahead, I'm hoping to probably continue working on doing peak performance hockey, which is going to be coming up in a few weeks. The season is going to be starting off with Labor Day weekend, which in less than a couple of weeks away. But I also wanted to get to do some more opportunities there. So one of the things that I want to look ahead is to call more games, and that's something that I really want to rely on as a broadcaster. You want to take opportunities that you wanted to have, and you wanted to make sure that things could really take care of the things that you wanted to do. I do most of the time I do play by play, but when I'm not doing play by play, I write out some blogs that I also do. I also have, this podcast that I really, doing success on doing podcasts. And that's the thing about, being board broadcasting, because it's not anything that you want to take it on the air. You want to make sure that you stay active, trying to do things that you wanted to take care of business there. Back in my early days of sport broadcasting, you know I want to have an opportunity. I've done writing down portfolios, doing blogs, and I hope that will probably stay the same. And there's four different areas when it comes to doing broadcasting, no matter what sport you're calling. You got the preseason, you got the regular season, postseason, and then the off season. And I'll probably write down blog probably in within next week. So, but it's a work in progress there for sure. But right now, just trying to make sure opportunities can get to where I need it to be. And I really love doing broadcasting work, but at the same time, you gotta what lies ahead ahead of the fall season, the winter season, going into 2027, and then spring season along the way. So you wanted to plan ahead, and many people are heading back to school, and for me, I'm definitely going back to school. I'm going to a 2-year college, hopefully to get a degree in communications and everything, and hopefully trying to make sure that everything is definitely, you know, hoping to get to some of the things that I wanted to improve, hopefully to work on and try to maintain the focus as of what I needed to do. But anyways, I hope that you guys have been tuning in to my podcast recently. We did 4 episodes so far. This is the 5th episode, and looking back at the 4 episodes, I feel like I've learned a lot when doing the broadcast there. when I started doing this podcast like last month, I wanted to make sure that I could, fit in the norm with other broadcasters, get to know about their journey and what lies ahead for them. And it doesn't matter if you are, or, like 20 years into the business, you're just getting started, you are an aspiring broadcaster. You are, I would say, you are like doing something that really makes you prepare on doing, what's best for you. And I wrote down some of the blogs on my Substack, and you can take a look at these. And I wrote down like some of the things that, most of the time that definitely involve in sports broadcasting. And I would definitely say that I would be lying if I didn't get to be where I am right now. So I'm so glad that, I want to like take more steps to, get to where I need to be right now. Because, I'm 5 years into the sports broadcasting business and I still got a long way to go before I can get to there. When I was starting doing sport broadcasting, you always wanted to make a name for yourself. And it's not easy when you're trying to get your foot in the door. Yes, I know rejection is going to come. Rejection is going to come. But when you get that one opportunity that really helps you grow, and hopefully you can like talk to other people all about it. And I've been connecting with some people, hopefully to like give them advice, hopefully to like, give them like something that could, really benefit of what I can really do here for sure. So that's a another good thing about it there as well. So recently, I've sent in an email to like someone from the PWHL, like about a play-by-play opportunity because PWHL, well, here in Detroit, it's gonna come very soon. And also with three other cities in mind, Hamilton, Ontario, Las Vegas, San Jose. Okay. And I wanted to like, make sure I can get as much opportunity as possible. But at the same time, you gotta realize, what what lies ahead. What can I do to make sure that I can become your next voice for, no matter what sport there. Recently, last year, I've started my first year calling hockey games, with peak performance hockey. And, what I've learned is that, it's a unique sport to call, but you gotta understand like hockey is not like, like any other sport that I recently called. Hockey is a, like a fast sport. You gotta deal with the line changes. You gotta know who has the puck, who has the special team, like the power play, the penalty kill, everything that needs to be said. So I'm hoping to work on, like improving ahead of my second season with peak performance hockey, if there is a second season. But you never know. You never know what to expect and what needs to happen there for sure. But my main goal here ahead of the 2026-27 season. So what lies ahead for me, the first off is to, get more opportunities. And it doesn't matter if it's, right here in the area or doing it remotely. And I've been doing it remotely for, for like the last like what couple of years. Hopefully I can get like more opportunities as possible because that's exactly what I needed to do and what lies ahead as well. Also, so the second opportunity that I wanted to make is to like get more reps. And that is something that I haven't done. And I mean, I've done like a few times, but I haven't doing it like, like on a consistent basis. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. No matter what sport I could bring in, I wanted to make sure that I could get it right as possible, but at the same time, you just gotta know that other people are actually doing it all by themselves. I mean, look at my friend Jarek, who has done like more hockey than possible. Now he's doing baseball. Look at my friend Matthew Mungno, who recently done like, hey, doing the Stanley Cup playoffs for like his own network. So hopefully I could do like more full game content for like myself, and hopefully like if there's no games involved, hell, hey, I mean, you just gotta like put in like so much work ahead. And the thing about it is that if you call like more games as possible, then that's a good thing, because that will give you like the more chances that could give you some more opportunities, you know, going full down the stretch ahead of, like what season you call there as well. The other thing is call sports that you haven't called in like a long time. Like for me, I haven't called basketball in 2 years. 2 years I haven't called basketball. And that is something that I wanted to, make sure or that I can get it done. I've recently done a board with like, like all the word vocabulary, and I still have it right now. So that is another thing that I could, make sure that if I wanted to like, hey, like know what location in on the court or on the field or definitely on the ice that I could, like work on, then I could work on some of the things, like you gotta like take it like one small step at a time. And then just try to make sure that if the player is on that side, where can you call it from that side? That is something that I could like continue to like work on there for sure. And I do have a photo, like a basket for like a basketball court, and that is from somebody, and this is what I got right here. And that tells you about, they have like rebounds, dribbling, make, miss, shot, 3 points, all of this. And then you got like the court set up there as well, like down the baseline, down low, the paint, the perimeter, all that. And I still have like some of the court the court settings from Adam Young, who now is the voice for Georgia Southern. He recently had his time with New Mexico State, so congratulations to him. By the way, I hope that he will do a job well done over there in Georgia Southern in Statesboro. Also, what lies ahead for me for the 2026-2027 sports season is to like, like create more content and on this channel. And when I meant by creating more content, I want to like take a look at, like what are some of the things that is definitely, you know, like in the headlines. Like in what some of the things that caught my attention or what makes things interesting. And I recently did that during the time when I had a channel of like the original Voker On Air YouTube channel, but it was taken down because one of my channels was like down like copyright. But I wanted to do like more content and that could really set the tone and have my thoughts and opinions on you know what can I do for this or what is going on with this, and that's exactly what I'm really wanting to get with. Do more content that really caught my attention or make things interesting. Call more games, get more opportunities for me, and hopefully I could write things down there for sure. I definitely wanted to like continue this podcast. This is a start for what's to come in the future. Hopefully everybody will get to, get to know exactly why I love this podcast and get to know more people around the country, especially in North America, like in Canada. Hopefully I can talk to like many people over there in Canada just to like like figure it out, like what needs to be done, like how do they get into the business. And that's what I really love about being involved in sports broadcasting, because you gotta love like the grind, the hard work that they've been pulling off there. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. When you get to the highest level, anything can happen for sure. No matter if it's you're sitting on the news desk, you're sitting around in the booth, or you're doing like production work, like behind the scenes. And that's definitely something that really wants to talk about, like also like giving advice. I want to talk to more people, connect with more people. I do have a LinkedIn account, but I do want to like share some people via email as well. So hopefully I could like write things down for sure, like connect more people, call in more games, get more reps, create my own demo reel, like make some changes throughout my portfolio website. And hopefully that, when I share some of the things with you guys, hopefully you you'll probably get to understand, why I work hard to like, get to where I need to be, hopefully get more opportunities. He's there for sure. And that is exactly why I love this broadcasting business. So first thing that talked about is to like like get more opportunities. Second one is to call more games as possible, especially if you're like calling like a game, like with a monitor, and you're doing it with no voice. Then I mean, that's a good thing for sure, because that's exactly what many people have really done so far, and I hope I can get to do it very soon as well. Also, like continue like create more content, like, and I hope I could do like some vlogs there as well, for like what's my day in the life looks like when it comes to like sport broadcasting, like day in the life as a play-by-play broadcaster. One of the guys who's currently doing this the segment called Living the Game, and his name is Mav Gillis. And he does it all there for sure. And I really hope that if he's watching this, I hope that he understands and what I'm talking about there. Love what he really does there for sure. And just to continue like get to be in like more, like sport broadcasting workshop groups, all that. I've been in a cohort with Rich Hollingberg like the last few years, so that was a good experience there as well. But I never wanted to like give up on my dream. I wanted to make sure I get my big break. So hopefully, like if any network wants me to like, be involved, hope that I could be in, then that's good. But until then, I wanted to like keep working. I wanted to like make sure that everything is definitely going smoothly for sure. And I'll probably like post a blog on it like very soon. So that way, like I can like make sure what I can look ahead for the 2026-27 season. And most notably, like I wanted to like have an opportunity to, like make sure that everything goes well. I hopefully I can like go to places very smoothly, and just to like be myself for whatever sport that I could bring in here. So, I recently done soccer. Hopefully I can call hockey very soon. I haven't done called basketball in the last couple of years, like I said. Hopefully I can do more of that. And like whatever spring or summer sports that you can give me, like lacrosse, I've recently done that. Softball, haven't done it in like the last few years, like 2, 3 years maybe. And hopefully I can like continue like writing down, like the word banks. And, hopefully to like make sure that when I get into the booth and do a broadcast, I make sure I have that everything in me. So I've done soccer, so that's good. I want to show you my soccer word bank in here, and all of these are like color coded. Hey, don't you love it? So like you got like the goal thing, the missed shots, the defense, saves, shots, all of that. And I really love doing this. And I do have a basketball wall, and I'm working on the hockey one there as well. So that way, when I'm calling a game, that could really help me, like do the broadcast for sure, because that's exactly what I do. Hopefully as a broadcaster, you got to work a whole lot of things, get more reps, create more content, which hopefully I can do that as well. Hopefully I could like create, like blogs and stuff, like a video blog. That's what many people really does there as well. And also I wanted to do like a booth cam. I wanted to do a booth cam for like the last couple of games for, USL League 2, but I didn't get a chance to do it. So hopefully I can do a booth cam, and yeah, that's about all that matters there for sure. So that is exactly what lies ahead for me for the 2026-27 sports season. Now, as far as this podcast goes, I'm working on, like a contact information, like a form, just to see who could really be a part of my next guest for Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. So if you are interested of being involved in, being a guest on this podcast, or if you're interested, just let me know. I have a LinkedIn, which is Yohn Voker. You can DM me. You can also like email me, yohnvoker@gmail.com, which you'll probably get to know about that. And hopefully we'll make progress, writing down some form. Yeah, so that's a whole lot to like get to where everything needs to be settled. And I hope that I can like, like talk to more people, men, women, play by play, broadcasting, analyst, producer, all of that work there for sure. So, well, that's it for me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is kind of like a short one in there for sure. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Hopefully we will probably bring in more guests coming up within like the next week as we get ready for the month of September, and hopefully we can look ahead and for like more content there. So by the time we get to September, I'll probably post like some like new content, and there's one content that I wanted to like work on there for sure, but you're gonna have to find that out within like the next few days. So, but anyways, that is it for this episode of Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy your day. We're just getting started for the sports season. Everybody's going back to college, or everybody is new to the college level. And remember, folks, make sure you subscribe to the Voker On Air podcast. That's Voices of the Game podcast on Spotify, and all the episodes are on the Voker On Air Network YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy your day, and let's have fun for the 2026-27 college sports season. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope I will see you back here for our next episode of Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. Take care, everybody.